to our introduction to the IBExpert data analysis. The IBExpert Tools menu item, Data Analysis, is an ideal OLAP and data warehouse component for quickly and easily analyzing data in the database. This sophisticated module can be used to build cubes and manage dimensions and measures. The technology is based on the building of multidimensional datasets, so-called OLAP cubes. It includes a powerful filtering system, enabling not only dimensions but also measures to be filtered. This IBExpert feature is included in all full registered IBExpert versions. IBExpert's data analysis can be opened using the IBExpert Tools menu or started directly from the SQL Editor's Results page or the Table Editor's or View Editor's data page using the Data Analysis Cube icon. When starting the data analysis for the first time, you may well get the message Library ZCubeDLL was not found. This is because the data analysis tool is provided as a separate DLL as part of the full IBExpert tool package called ZCubeDLL, which you can find in the main IBExpert directory. This simple Windows registration is performed automatically when you start IBExpert as administrator. You only need to do this once. Once registered, you can use the data analysis even without administrator rights. Please note that with Windows, it isn't necessarily enough to be logged in as administrator. You must right-click the desktop symbol, Start menu symbol, or Executable, and execute as administrator. And if you're working with instances, you may need to register it a second time. The database shown here is the IBExpert demo database, which represents a simple DVD shop. You can find out more about our demo database on our website. Simply search IBExpert Demo DB. Okay, let's start with constructing a realistic example, which we will later show you how to automate. So let's go into the data analysis module by opening the orders table, going to the data page and clicking on the cube symbol. We'll keep this first example simple, just to give you an idea how it works. I'll drag order date into the dimensions. You can drag multiple fields backwards and forwards until you've got the selection you want. Here I'll use wrap2 to group by year, and I'll alter the alias and display name to sales. Then I'll add the order date field a second time and wrap to month. You will need to use a different unique alias here, otherwise IBExpert will throw an error message. The display name you can choose as you wish, although you will see in a moment that using the same display name for multiple dimensions could lead to confusion. Then I'll drag the net amount field into the measures. I'll retain the calculation type sum and knock the decimals off the format. I'll then build the cube by using F9 or clicking the green arrow, and hey presto! If you're confused which sales is which, you can use the option to view what's behind these names by opening the Cube Manager. To view my sales figures, I simply drag these down here, and now I have a nice grouping by year with a further monthly summary. I can sort the dimensions. I can then print or export this analysis or generate a graphic, selecting graph type, toggling labels and the key. You can view just a section of your summary. Here I'll take a look at the last quarter in 2011, and you can print your selection if wished. If I want to change something, for example I'd prefer a quarterly evaluation, I just go back to the cube structure page, wrap to quarter, amend the alias accordingly and rebuild the cube. I can use the Cube Manager to blend out any information I don't want or need to see by clicking on the icons or using the spacebar. The red eye means that it is invisible but still included in the statistics. The red X treats it as if the dimension wasn't there at all. After applying and closing, I can view my revised figures. In the bottom left-hand corner here, there are quite a few options which you can apply to your measures if wished. If I want to see how many orders were placed in which month, I simply swap the measure for ID. Here I'll specify a count and a whole number format, and within seconds I have my new figures. So that's basically how it works. However, you're not just going to want to evaluate data from a single table. It will be more effective if we define an SQL total data quantity with all the information that we may wish to view in various constellations. Basically, you can use any SQL result set as a basis for cube analysis. We can also use IBExpert's IBE block function, IBEC build cube. When I click on this function name, I can use the F1 key to access the IBExpert online documentation, where I can simply copy the syntax and paste it in the SQL editor. Here you can store an SQL which specifies the full data quantity you may wish to evaluate, as opposed to defining an SQL for each and every possible constellation. By the way, IBExpert automatically saves your SQL every time you execute it and stores it in the SQL editor's history. So as long as you don't overwrite it, you can go back to it and reuse it or tweak it as often as you like. Then I can use the IBEx build cube script to automatically generate a cube once a week or once a month. I can define the dimensions and measures here and store the script on the network so that it is accessible to other staff, be it the sales director, CEO or controlling. These can be provided to staff along with a slimmed down IBExpert version, which only has one menu item, Tools Data Analysis. The Cube viewer needs absolutely no knowledge of IBExpert, Firebird or SQL. He merely needs to know where to find the Cube file so that he can open it. He can then decide which dimensions and measures to use and view, print or export the resulting statistics. But he can't make any alterations and he can't access any database at all. All you need to do to slim down this IBExpert version is generate a text file with this code and file it under the name IBExpert.usr in the main IBExpert directory. If you want to automate the installation process of this Cube Viewer version for your less computer literate staff, you can use batch files to prevent each Cube user having to be given administrator rights if he wants to start the program in a network environment. You will need a licensed IBExpert executable file, IBExpert.user and zcubedll for this. Open the Windows input window as administrator and go to the IBExpert directory, usually C, Programs, HK Software, IBExpert, where the zcubedll is stored, and enter regserver32 zcube.dll. Registered owners of the IBExpert site and var licenses don't need to go to this trouble, as a runtime version is included in their site and var licenses. We'll take a look at this runtime or slimmed down version in just a bit. Before finishing off, I'd like to show you the sort of SQL you can use to create a selected range of data for data analysis purposes. First, write and test your SQL. Then copy the IBEx build cube script from the IBExpert online documentation. Direct context-sensitive access using F1, remember? And insert this into your new query. Here I've deleted everything that's not of interest or irrelevant. Then I've copied my query and inserted it here at select SQL equals. That's the best thing about this feature. I can use the full range of SQL to define my data selection for the cube. Down here I've removed this and corrected the path and file name here. I could also pass on parameters, but I don't want to in this case. The first dimension here should be customer. I've made things easy here and concatenated first name and last name and called it name. The second dimension is order date. I'll do a wrap to month and wrap to year. Further dimensions here are state, product title and category. You can of course add as many as you want. Measures. Here I've defined two measures, quantity and price. Okay, when I now execute and commit this, you can see the cube file here. So we'll now open the limited IBExpert runtime version with the data analysis viewer. I'll quickly activate the IBExpert user file, and now when I start IBExpert, you can see the limited application that your staff can see. You can now quickly view figures by film category. I can drag year into the columns to get a summary of film category quantities and sales broken down by year. I can use the Cube Manager to filter or add calculations to the data displayed. And I can generate graphics for all or part of any statistical summary. I can tweak this SQL as much as I like until I really have all the data as I want it. So you can see there are almost endless possibilities with the IBExpert data analysis. You can create a range of cube files for the various departments in your enterprise to cover the requirements of sales, human resources, controlling, etc., etc. We're sure you'll have lots of fun designing your own data cubes. Thank you for taking the time to watch this tutorial. A transcript can be downloaded by all IBExpert registered full version holders from the customer download area at www.ibexpert.com. All topics presented here are also documented in detail on our website.